Right, good morning everybody, and thanks for joining us here today for the EQ Resources Limited Mount Carbine Bankable Feasibility Study, which will be delivered by CEO Kevin McNeil, who's up there sweltering away in tropical North Queensland. How are things going over there, Kevin? I'll hand it over to you to take over the presentation.
Great. Thanks for everybody for joining this morning. I appreciate the audience. There's your standard disclaimer. You can read at your leisure when you get tired of hearing me. I guess for some of the newbies that are on here, a lot of the older shareholders have seen this a lot of times, but I do like to make references to our value proposition on the project here, and why the capex is so reasonable on this particular project is that we certainly have a very good infrastructure, power lines already on site, offices on site, laboratories on site, paved road through our site. So we do have a very good infrastructure, which reduces the capital cost in the feasibility study. Second thing, through the feasibility study, that was a huge advantage is having the exact costs of materials and labor and what the actual cost is, and having everything already set up and in place was invaluable to the feasibility study. So again, I think it's worth noting the experienced board that EQ Resources have and management. Oliver Kleinhampel, as most of you would know, wears a couple of hats. He's also one of the global MDs for Cronimet Group, the multi-conglomerate trading house. Stephen Layton, a very well-known stockbroker in entrepreneur in Australia, ZPO, electrical engineer, also very large shareholder, and was one of the founding of the new EQ Resources. Richard Morrow, a new addition to the board, has been invaluable with all those beautiful LinkedIn posts that he keeps all the shareholders up to date. Richard's invaluable in helping with his experience and knowledge through the years. So again, we get Tony Bainbridge on the geology. Tony is also very, very well experienced global geologist and has pulled a resource here together. And then myself with 35 years of project development under my belt around the globe, and very excited to be on the Mount Carbine project. So again, why would you invest in EQ Resources, and what's going on with the feasibility study? I guess that if you want to be positioned in tungsten outside or critical metals outside of China, EQ Resources offers that at a very low risk. Very low risk, and we have very strong economics, as we'll get into a little bit later. We've taken 15% of the deposit and we've converted it into the open pit resource, as well as the low grade stockpile. And I know some of you will have questions around why did we do that, and so again, everything, and I've made no bones about this, everything that we've tried to do is a low risk, low capital, get into production, stop shareholder dilution. That's the main theme of what we did. And I make no apologies for that. I think it's the absolute right thing. I've been dealing with juniors for a number of years. It's to get into production as quickly as you can and to stop the bleed to shareholders. I think we also have a very good ESG vision. I'll also talk about that. It has become one of the most important aspects of a business currently in today's environment with the young investor group. This is something that I've personally been passionate about for a number of years. It's been drilled into me with my previous company that I work for, and it's something that we believe in wholeheartedly. I think the underground scoping study set for the first quarter is going to be a huge value add for the share price and for the company when people realize the size of this. And then we're going to be drilling hopefully we get drills the first quarter of this year to be able to extend the open pit resource and to add another 1 or 2 of those high grade years onto the deposit. So it's a work in progress at Mount Carbine. It has been, we've taken it from a shell and we're turning it into a world-class mine. Apologies. Again, as part of that value and culture piece, a lot of you would have seen this before, so I'm not going to go through individual ones, but I think it is important to understand that your company is paying attention to this, to these values and to create a culture in the local environment here, and that we are paying attention in all aspects of ESG. Speaking of which, so as part of the bankable feasibility study and the engagement with Jukes Todd do have a ESG department in their group, and we did do a survey with various stakeholders, including shareholders like yourselves, management, financiers, and where are we succeeding and where they felt we were succeeding and where we need to spend more time at. And certainly the green is where we're exceeding expectations. The brown is sort of what they expect of us, and the pink is where we can improve on. So you will be seeing that that aspect of it be picking up in the near future, so you can read that at your leisure as well. So again, we're located in just a fantastic location. I myself drive in from Port Douglas every day. 55 minutes to the mine site, International Airport at Cairns. So we also have a rock quarry that takes from our mine waste from our sorting, and we reuse that, we repurpose that, and that's become really invaluable, reducing the operating cost of the quarry. And we also have a great partner in Cronimet, which do the offtake for us. And we currently have a fantastic BFS that has been completed, which is a big milestone, and that's what we're here for today to discuss. So the BFS, what are we looking at? Again, you would have seen the economics are kind of what one financier told me, lumpy. Where we go from the waste dump up into the open pit and then back down into the waste dump. Obviously, that's not going to be the case. We are going to get we're going to start with the low grade stockpile, and then we're going to be hitting the open pit, and then we're going into the underground afterwards. But we elected to get the feasibility study done quickly, get the financing done, and get into production with the open pit as fast as we can. This is a 12-year initial mine life with the waste dump. Again, the underground will add significant value to this. The pre-NPV, net present value at 8% discount rate, is 131 million. CapEx was with contingency 21 million. We've already done a couple of million in early works already. That comes off of that figure as we continue on here. Our MTU, I like to quote it in US dollars. We have it in Aussie here, but it's 155 Aussie or 113 US dollars, with 430 in MTU is the selling price in US dollars. And I think one of the most significant numbers is this, again, this low risk financing of 154% IRR, which I like to pay attention to. So again, we talk about the ramp up, and I think this is a very important slide for shareholders to really pay attention to. This again is a function of us not trying to overcapitalize the stripping on the open pit and to take it out of cash flows. One could make an argument that you want to strip back and put 20 million in pre-stripping and then dilute the shareholders. That wasn't the case. I'm trying to get the low-grade stockpile going, take some ore from the open pit, strip back the open pit, carry on like that. So that's, in my opinion, a very practical way to go about these projects. And we will be ramping up. And after 2025, we'll have the underground ready to kick in. Even prior to 2025, we'll be test mining under the underground very quickly and starting to pull some high grade ore out of that underground. So that is the concept. Like I said, in the bankable feasibility study, we had to put in just the economics as they sit today. But I can tell you that that underground is very profitable from the internal numbers that we've done. And now we're going to start down the road of converting these into shareholder value on the market and carrying on. The project development plan, I guess we basically already talked about it. Get into the early works program, which we've seen in December some of the effects of our early works program kicking in with the power now completed, and that will be hooked up next week. But even still, we are at a record. We're on track for a very significant December record production in December, and this will only improve as we turn the sorters on 24/7, the new sorters, and then also we get into the wet screen that we've purchased and get that up and running, and then the program just keeps continuing on and getting better as we go. So phase 2 is the open pit that we talked about, and that will be, like I said, we'll start the stripping in the 4th quarter of this year. Permit amendment pending from the Environment Department. We do have an environmental impact assessment already completed, but there's an amendment that we need to do for the open pit. And then we are going to look at extending, which I'll show you on a couple of slides coming up, extending the open pit to try to squeeze another couple of those juicy years in, that we believe that there is potential to do that. And that's sort of the next round of drilling that we'll be doing. And then as we talked about, the underground. So what's very interesting to me and on the news lately, that depending on who you're talking to, but tungsten is one of China's metals that they control. And you heard me say this before, 83%. China has come out with a statement saying that they are definitely going to be feeding their own economy first. China has consumed an additional 10% of the world's tungsten last year alone, and they will continue to grow. And as they grow, they're going to be feeding their own supply of tungsten to their own country. So this will dry up the supply. And what you see on the top brown lines here is that has to be new supply coming on from the Western world. The blue is the China. And if they start to consume their own production more and more, this only means one thing: the price of tungsten is going up, and going up fast. People need it. It's not. It's been used for in alloys, super alloys for both Boeing and Airbus. Is some of the big consumption. Semiconductors now, tungsten. So they're finding all kinds of new uses for tungsten because of its characteristics in the new economy mineral. So there is a big growth coming for tungsten price, in our opinion. Tungsten is notoriously volatile. It has gone up, gone down, depending on the release of supply from China. There was a big stockpile in China that got consumed over the last couple of years, but the good news is our production cost is very cheap, so we can withstand any downturns, but we expect that there's really going to be a floor here, and we priced in $315 an MTU for our price. So this is, I guess, probably my favorite slide that I like to show people is on the bottom right-hand side, and some of the old shareholders, you would have seen this before. But the white line around here in the open pit, this is the new current pit that's proposed. And you can see all the different colors of all the different ore zones that has been drilled already that show the potential for the underground coming here. So when we say 15%, you can truly believe this is a very minimum is 15%. We solidly are seeing as we're doing the regional exploration out from the site, the just to the north of our site, a few kilometers, we're seeing parallel vein systems appearing, and these are being investigated with geophysics and soils currently. And there'll be an announcement when we get some more detail around that and what the drilling program and drill targets look like on this here. And that will be taking place late first quarter of this year. You can also see the extension, and you'll see the decline heading down here. That is all part of the planning going forward. So quite exciting stuff. So this is this round of drilling that's going to take place in first quarter. As you can see, these zones are extending out to the west and out to the east. Some of them are in the high wall here, and then obviously the Iron Duke that we intersected these drill holes last year, and trying to connect up these holes and putting in some more drilling into that and tightening up the open pit potential of extending this open pit that you see coming around here. And this will add on significant tonnage, we believe, in the near future. Some of the other targets, like I had said, these parallel vein systems that are running up past Iron Duke, and we're seeing this, what they call the beetles coming up through here. And again, you're seeing all these vein systems. The guys are bringing back tungsten every day when they're doing their soil sampling. And so this needs to be tied together, and these drill targets are being proposed to extend into the new year to see this. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Also, this red cap, we've discovered something up here that is, we're not exactly sure what's going on, but I know it has been known in the past from some of the old timers that might be on this call. But it is, we are looking at this. It is a copper. We don't know if it's gold yet. We're still waiting for assays, but and we don't know the size of it currently, but there's quite a big gossiness cap on this, and it is something totally different from tungsten, but we'll be investigating that with a bit of wildcatting in the first quarter as well. The other interesting thing that you'll be seeing coming up is this plot logic that we've done it on our core, and we were able to identify the ore zones that are hosting the tungsten and using hyperspectral imaging and the drill core. And this is, there'll be a test program in the future on the surface where they've done some scans and are able to identify what the surface expression looks like. So we're quite excited about this technology as an exploration tool. Again, we talked about the underground. You can see this is the current existing decline that runs down there. This will be an extension, and this will be a ventilation shaft that goes up there. This will be the open pit. All this ore needs to be tightened up. It's all into the inferred category, and these will be the drill hole off the decline in the future, or possibly off the open pit, coming in from the open pit ramp down into when the water is out of the pit into the underground. So kind of looking at that for probably late fourth quarter this year is to really get the scoping document out, define the drill targets, and then once we're finished the construction, we'll be tackling this and getting the open pit going. Then we'll be tackling this underground section. So I think it's quite an exciting year for us. So and again, that's indicating currently probably around a 10-year mine life underground. Again, this needs to go through the scoping, and this is all internal work on audited. So take it for what it's worth, but it's certainly a good looking to us. Again, you would have seen, I hope some of you has probably got through some of the summary of the document, but it is up on the website and you can see the level of detail that has gone into this document. This was over $1 million, this feasibility study, and it was worth every penny what we got out of the work. And so you can see the what we've done to the resource. So it's quite an exciting value of money in that resource. So again, this is the waste dump. We've taken a huge section out of this currently on the surface, and we're seeing very similar grades day in and day out coming out of that waste dump. The grades are way up from the tailings from what we're used to. We're still running kind of half production, but we are on target for like a record month, even with half production currently. And we're looking pretty good. These are the different shells in the open pit over the 4-year life of the open pit. Again, we're doing this in a phase 1 and a phase 2 section here. So we're putting in our biggest bottleneck right now is the crushing and screening section. The plant is totally sorted. We're getting 90% availability on the gravity plant with 1,000 ton a day operation. What we're seeing here is just basically the big Kev label over here and pre-scalping onto the new Sandvik screen into our existing new cone crusher, and then back onto the screen and out and down to the plant, gets pumped down to the plant. And then this is the sorter product that you would have seen. We purchased a new sorting plant. And so this will be ongoing. This will be finished. We're looking at February of this year that this will be completed, this phase 1, and then we'll hopefully have all our financing together to do the bigger plant and add to this. And this is the overall plant, which reduces op cost and then takes us to the next level of 350 ton an hour processing, and reduces our operating cost of producing crusher materials. And the tungsten concentrate is sold ex-gate to Cronimet, takes our tungsten production from there. So yeah, we already discussed infrastructure. I won't go back there again, but again, the couple of XRTs that are on site currently are going to be installed as part of this program. So where are we at? We finished the feasibility study, like we said, in 4th quarter. Gravity upgrade plant is completed. The early works will be completed in Feb, and we'll be starting the underground scoping study and then into the 1 million ton construction in quarter 2, and then restart the mining 4th quarter of 2022. So I think that we'll be also increasing through the mineralized stockpile while we're constructing. This will be an ongoing, the production you will see will continue to ramp up over the year and on the waste dump till we reach 90 tons a month of production, and that will certainly make us some good money. So social, economic, I guess we talked about, we are embracing a circular economy with the taking our waste streams both from the tailings of the gravity plant. There's trucks taking it every day and using it for sand in operations in both concrete making and then also on the sorter product, we're making aggregates, road base, going out. And we have engaged heavily with the Indigenous community, the local Mount Carbine Indigenous community and the regional Indigenous community. And we are employing several individuals from the local community and carrying on. We're anticipating over this project life about $425 million of first dollars into the Australian economy, which is a significant boost for this region up here where there's not much mining taking place. And 70 direct full-time jobs, and obviously a significant amount of indirect jobs that will be taking place. Yeah, so I guess we went through most of this. I guess our cost, you can see where we sit on the cost curve, and hopefully with our byproduct revenue creeping in from the quarry, that this will go down as we get more revenue from the quarry. Then the production costs will go down to. So we are hoping that eventually the quarry may cover our production costs as things move forward on the development. So yeah, we went through most of those earlier on. So what can we expect in the coming months? Just as a summary, phase one increased by 70 to 90 tons. Once we're completed and get through the rainy season, we should be ramping up to that level. Financial close of the BFS scope that we had put in. We've already been working on the financing with several financial institutions for debt on the project, and it's being very well received. The document was very solid, and people liked what we were doing on the low risk. Drilling Mount Carbine exploration targets and increase the pit optimization tonnage, and go from the underground from an inferred resource to an indicated resource. Further enhancing the safety standards on site. It's been an ongoing push that we are working aggressive at that, and then also getting the environmental license to open up the pit, amend the existing license, and further promote our green aggregates. We're on a big drive for that. We are working on some very, very large contracts currently, so we're keeping our fingers crossed that we're able to fulfill that, and we are pushing with the aggregates. So on that note, if anybody has any questions, please feel free.
Thanks, Kevin. That was a pretty comprehensive review, and good to hear in your words about what you think is exciting. And I think you did pay particular attention to the fact that this staged process that you've put together in the BFS ensures the best outcome for shareholders, and moving into a staged process to ensure better use of capital is, I think, always very well received. Notwithstanding the terrific result, and an IRR over 150% is rare and an excellent mark for the company. The share price did take a hit yesterday, which we're all surprised about. What can you tell us your thoughts on that?
Nobody more surprised than the directors and officers of the company. We started off, I think that people got the results and started off good. There was a lot of trading, and I think it's as simple as some day traders got a hold of the stock. We saw some funny trading of hundreds of very small trades going through $5 trades. So we're not 100% sure exactly what happened, but we certainly got hit the last 15 minutes of the day. I can tell you, directors and officers, we were able to buy after the financial release was let, and we certainly did, getting an early Christmas present for any shareholders that decided to been with the company long enough to know that the value is there currently already to justify a very significant share price. And then with this scoping document for the underground, I think you could see a very significant share price. I said during the AGM that I believe we should be at 150 million market cap. I think with the scoping document done, and this drilling on the next round, I think that is very achievable, depending on global aspects, obviously. So yeah, fundamentally, nothing has changed as far as only get better with the resource. And anybody that takes the time to get into the detail on the study will see that we have done our homework on this. This is not something that was slapped together. This was independent people that really took a hard swing on the project to put conservative all the way through it, and it still stacks up.
And Kevin, I think it reflects the year that EQ Resources has put together. It's been one of consistent achievement and progress to this point. So it's been a lot jammed into this year. So it's been pretty good to see. And the tungsten price holding up pretty well. At a recent Melbourne presentation, there were lots of charts and data showing a shortage of a number of metals going to the next decade, tungsten amongst them. What's your views on the pending supply gap, perhaps, for tungsten prices?
Yeah, I'll just reiterate, Peter, that with China, it's all about China. In my opinion, their cost of production is going up, and as they merge a lot of these smaller tungsten mines and their safety standards, from an ESG standpoint, people are pressurizing China all the time. So they throw people into these half-meter wide tunnels to mine the tungsten veins. Where Mount Carbine, we put 4 or 5 of these together. We put them through the ore sorter to take the waste out, and we were able to mine them in the open pit and then underground safely. And by having technology and being smarter with the mechanical aspects of the operation as opposed to the manual. So I think that's where Australia is going to win, is that we mine smarter and we use technology to our advantage.
And Kevin, you did highlight the reasoning around starting off with 14.4% of the resource. As you move into further underground down the track, do you see the overall cost per unit reducing?
Yeah, we're going to try. What's nice about this underground, and I'm sure there's a few old miners that are on this call as well, that because the veins are parallel and stacked one on top of another, and so it gives you a very low cost development for your underground. Once you drive your decline down and once you get set up, then you can mine on multiple faces in different stopes and be able to blend the grades, and it gives you the ability to keep increasing your tonnage as you develop by opening up various veins. So and again, we're seeing, I think the other thing that I probably didn't fail to mention through last year, this elevation at the open pit elevation, if you will, and at a certain RL down, the grade increased and the veins come together to form larger veins, where at the very top of the vein system, they're very wispy, and the old timers mined out a big hunk of low grade. The veins are now coming together and they become richer, and then eventually they do get too hot in the system and the tungsten doesn't drop out. So our geologists are quite comfortable that they know now, even though they see wispy veins at the top, that doesn't mean anything. You have to drill at like 250 meters below, and then you will find the main tungsten system, which we will attack from underground and grab those veins in parallel. So it's quite exciting what they're seeing. And again, with the plot logic, they're identifying these zones more and more. They understand the alteration around these zones. So it is quite exciting.
You mentioned, Kevin, that you're in debt talks for funding for the CapEx portion of the project. How do you see that progressing? And are you confident that the project will be fully debt funded?
Fully debt funded, that's a good question. We are going to certainly try to do the maximum that we can. Usually the debt funders do require some equity into the project, but it'll certainly be accretive equity if there is any. There is a lot of interest. We have draft term sheets already on the back of the feasibility study that people that we've been working with. And yeah, so there's we're doing our best to get the best deal for the shareholders on this so yeah, we're fairly confident, Peter, that we'll be able to pull this together. It is, like I said, a very simple project that we put together, and we did de-risk it, which the banks like. We're also looking at some of the mining, some of the processing equipment through Sandvik. have also expressed interest in leasing of some of the major components to us at a very low interest rate. So we will divide up as much as we can to reduce any equity.
And already producing good cash flow from waste and tailings must also assist your cause.
It gives you a huge advantage, right? All the way through the feasibility study, we were able to interact with the engineers and said, no, you can't do this. No, you can't do that because this is what happens. Also with the bankers, they really appreciate when you're already selling concentrate, you're already mining, you know, you're doing it every month, day in, day out. You got your SSE, your safety systems up and running. You know, we're fully operational. So this is just a matter of increasing the crushing capacity, and then we will be producing more and then getting into the open pit where the grade is 5 times higher than what we're doing now, 5 to 10 times higher than what we're doing now. So you can only imagine that's why we show such a ramp up in production in that in those years. So we're fully aware of what needs to be done. Ausenco did the processing plant upgrades on the arsenic removal and also the scavenging to increase that above 75. We use, or 79. We use that in the study. We're currently at that, so there's only upside built in.
Well, Kevin, looks like not only is the project already humming along nicely, but it's certainly well organised to go forward. So it's been a great year of achievement from you and the team out there. And I think shareholders have had a pretty good seat at this show to watch it as it's progressed. So I'd like to thank everybody for joining in here today. And I'm sure you'll probably want to say something in closing.
Yeah, thanks. I'd like to thank all the shareholders for their support. I know some people have been in this for a long time. I hope they did see over the last year and a half since I've taken over that we are implementing. I mean, the deposit has been knowing. There's been just some great work done on this deposit over the years. And I think we just got the right development team now to be able to implement this, this great resource that we have here and to tackle it the right way. And so, yeah, and my door is always open to shareholders. Anybody who knows me usually sends me an email or whatever, and I will call them back when I get a gap. And I enjoy talking to shareholders. So if anybody hasn't got any questions answered on the feasibility study, I certainly encourage them to drop me an email and I will get back to you.
Great. Thank you, Kevin. Thank everybody for attending and have a great break over the Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody.